Hello, this is Steve Stallings. This is the third in a series of Freight Invoice Automation videos for the Freight Reconciliation ISV written by Avantico for Dynamics 365 Finance and Supply Chain. In this video, we'll be covering the matching rules. In previous videos, I covered the importation of freight bills and estimates, the importation and processing of carrier invoices, and at this point, we'll go through matching rules with subsequent videos covering the rest of the application. At this point in the process, we are now through the freight estimates and the freight bill collection, the accrual to give finance visibility into what the outstanding accounts payable values are going to be unless they're disputed, and then the carrier invoice importation via EDI. We're now at the point of matching those freight bills automatically. And as we mentioned previously, all of the steps in this process are fully automated. There are no manual steps at this point until we get into some of the reconciliation in steps 5, 6, and 7. So the process we're going through right now is going to be the matching rule setup, and then the automatic matching process, the exception handling, and then looking at the matching history. And I've got examples of all of those to share with you today. First of all, the Avantico Freight Invoice Automation application is installed in Dynamics 365 Finance and Supply Chain as a module. You can see that on the left. And what we're going to be taking a look at today are the matching rules and matching assignments, or what I call sequences, the matching history, and the workspace that allows users to have full access to all this information. So starting off, we'll take a look at the freight bill matching rules. The freight bill matching rules allow you to define as many different rules as you need for matching carrier invoices to freight bills. We'll start with a full match description here, and you'll see to the right into the details section. Here we're matching the shipping carrier by carrier code. We're matching the tracking number, the freight bill date, and that's with a tolerance of plus or minus 5 days. Fourth line is the total charges, and that we have a tolerance of up to 20% $20 as an amount. And then fifth line down, total charges variance as a percentage of up to 200%. Now, your numbers in reality may differ from these. These are in my demo system. This allows me to get some interesting results to share with you, but you may have much tighter tolerances on the amount difference and the percent difference that you'll allow between freight bills and invoices. That's a full match, but not all invoices are going to fully match, or invoice lines are going to fully match to the freight bills that they're sent in against. So we also allow you to define different types of partial matches. So we can have down here at the bottom just a tracking match where the tracking number matches, so we know it's the right invoice line, but nothing else does. We can have reference information matches so that we know that, for example, the invoice number matches, or the sales order number or some other reference data matches, but maybe very little else. It could be that we've got combinations like the tracking number and the order number match. So the idea here is to define as many different match possibilities as you can come up with, so that as these invoices are being evaluated, we know whether we've got a full match, a partial match, or no match at all. And the way that's set up is on this screen where we're doing the assignments, or what I call the sequences. We're identifying that if it's a invoice from DHL, we want to first check for a full match. That's sequence number 100. If we can't get a full match, is there at least a reference number match, meaning the order number matched? Or if that doesn't match, do we have a tracking and order number match? So the tracking number and an order number match. Finally, just a tracking match. And then if we can't match any of those, it's simply a non-matched invoice. And we move on to our rules for FedEx, UPS, and other carriers. So by having first the matching rules and then these assignments, we can define the sequence the system is going to automatically search through for determining whether or not we have a match, and what level that match is, and how many variances or exceptions there are to the match. This is that workspace I mentioned. This allows a freight reconciliation employee to take a quick look at everything they need to see in terms of unmatched freight bills, unreconciled freight bills, open carrier invoices, open carrier invoice lines across the top, and see how many of each of those are in each category. And then down the left-hand side, you've got transactions that you can get at as well. The open carrier invoice lines details. And from here, you can dive into the processes at the top. So here, what we're looking at is on the process tab, we can open the carrier invoice matching process. So this would be manually invoking it instead of letting it be automatically invoked by a periodic job. And we can generate a number of inquiries. We can look at freight bills, matching history, cost components, carrier invoices, etc. And this is the full list of everything that we can inquire from this page. And we're going to take a look at matching history here in just a moment. So from this page, the employee that's responsible or employees responsible for carrier invoice reconciliation can get at all the information they need to determine what matches, what can be paid, what's going to be disputed, what you're going to charge back to customers, etc. Okay, so here's the match history that has been generated as we've been matching invoices throughout the time. You'll notice that on the first line, we have a match. The next 4 lines, we have match with warning. That's what the yellow triangle indicates. So these matched, but they matched because the amounts were within tolerance, but they weren't an exact match. They were off by an amount. And you can see here some of the variance amounts that they were off by. And then in red, we have things that did not match at all. And I'll show you an example of that in detail in a couple of moments. Matter of fact, I think we're going to be looking at this exact record in a couple of moments in the matching details. And then down here in green, you see the full matches. These are the ones that matched fully, no variances or nothing that violated any of the matching rules. So they've passed the matching process. These we can go ahead and pay the carriers. These we may want to investigate further and ultimately dispute these before paying them or agreeing to pay them. So going back to that workspace again, now we can use that information to get at the details. There we go. So we'll go in and open the carrier invoice lines. And this is the list of carrier invoice lines. And you can see in the highlighted blue, I've grabbed the third one down, invoice ending in 3322. And over on the right are the details for that invoice. So it gives us the vendor account, the bill of lading number, the carrier service level, you know, the shipping carrier, the customer reference number, the billing reference number, a lot of different information about this. And if we scroll down here on the right, we can also get down to the carrier cost component. So this is the details about what we're being charged. $11.86 of this charge are the actual freight amount. And then we've got 21 cents in fuel surcharge. And we've got a label fee showing, but no amount charged for that. So this gives us the breakdown in details, and we can actually match against these cost component lines, or what are called accessorial fees in the industry. So these cost components, we can match at that detail level and not just at the summary level. This is another example. I moved up to the top line in that list, the invoice ending in 6723. And what you see here is, again, a freight charge and a fuel surcharge. But if you notice down at the bottom, there's a complete mismatch after 6 attempts to match this. So this has been attempted to match multiple times through the automatic periodic job, and it's mismatched every time. And if you notice in the middle of it, the variance here is the $103.88 that we were being charged for fuel. So the freight bill matched the invoice amount for the freight charge, but the fuel surcharge was a complete mismatch every time. So that would be one that we would probably want to dispute or investigate further to find out why we're being overcharged by that much. Okay, moving on then. The process that we've been through so far has been the first 4 steps in this process, including step 5, the freight bill match. And in the next video, we're going to cover the AP invoice payment process, the accrual reversal, and the analytics. Thank you very much.